Build your dreams, live rich, and leave rich.
Welcome back. Today, we are going to tackle one of the most common and frankly one of the most dangerous pieces of financial advice you'll ever hear in India. Buy that plot of land. It's a sure thing. We're going to show you exactly why this myth can leave you asset rich but cash poor, and more importantly, give you a simple, clear framework to build real financial security for your family. Let's get right into it.
You know, the whole idea we're exploring today really boils down to this. True wealth isn't about showing off or looking rich. It's about being able to sleep soundly at night, knowing that no matter what happens, your family is secure. It's all about that peace of mind, not just a bigger bank balance.
And of course, a quick but very important note. What we're talking about here is for educational purposes. For advice that's actually tailored to your specific situation, please talk to a financial advisor who is registered with SEBI. That's India's market regulator, and it means they are qualified and accountable for the advice they give.
All right, let's dive in. We've all been there, haven't we? You're at the office, taking a tea break, and the conversation, it always seems to turn to the next big investment opportunity.
And this is the line you hear all the time. It's the kind of gossip that fuels so many bad financial decisions. I mean, it sounds incredible, like a guaranteed win, but it's actually a massive myth that can quietly, completely derail your entire financial life. And listening to that advice is what leads to this incredibly dangerous situation of being asset-rich but cash-poor. So you might look wealthy on paper, right? You own a plot of land, maybe some gold. But when you need money and you need it urgently, you have absolutely none. You know, someone once said an asset that can't be sold quickly is just a fancy liability in disguise, and that is so true.
Let's just be really blunt for a second. Can you actually walk into a hospital during a family emergency and offer them a piece of your land to cover the bill? Of course not. It's a ridiculous question, but it perfectly highlights the huge, critical flaw in locking up all your hard-earned money and assets you just can't access.
So, to really get our heads around the right way to think about this, let's use a simple analogy that pretty much everyone in an Indian household will immediately understand. The parable of the dosa batter. Okay, so imagine 3 people. First, you have Siva. He has no plan at all, so he panics and just goes hungry. Then you have Ram. He reacts to the problem. He orders some food to solve the immediate crisis, but he's always playing catch-up, always one step behind. But then there's Krishna. Krishna prepared. He has zero anxiety because his needs are already taken care of.
And here's the crucial takeaway. The old way of managing your finances is reactive, just like Ram. You spend your life just putting out fires. The new way, the Krishna way, is about preparing the night before. It's all about proactive planning that ultimately buys you that priceless peace of mind. Okay, so how do we actually do that? Well, we do it by building our financial house on 3 simple, non-negotiable pillars. Let's break them down one by one. These are the 3 core pieces you need to have in place. First, a solid foundation of protection. Second, a smart strategy for building wealth that you can actually access. And third, a really clear understanding of the real estate trap that you have to avoid. So let's start with the first pillar. And honestly, this is the most important one. Before you even think about investing or trying to get rich, you absolutely must protect what you already have. This is your foundation. I absolutely love this quote. Think about it. A single medical emergency can completely wipe out years and years of your savings. A good health insurance plan, it's not a cost, it's a shield. It's a bodyguard that protects your entire financial future from collapsing overnight. So the first part of your foundation is health insurance. The second is term insurance. Now this is just as critical, but you have to understand, it's not for you. It's for your family's financial security if you're no longer around to provide for them. What's really interesting here is the data. When you're choosing an insurer, a high claim settlement ratio is everything. It's basically a measure of how reliable they are. The higher that number, the more likely they are to actually pay out when your family needs it most. This is what peace of mind looks like when you put it into numbers. Okay, so once your foundation of protection is totally secure, then we can move to Pillar 2, your strategy for building wealth with a major focus on liquidity. And liquidity is just a fancy word for how quickly you can turn an asset into cash without losing a bunch of its value. What this means is you need to build a portfolio that you can actually use. We're talking about things like mutual funds, fixed deposits, bonds. The goal here is so simple. If an emergency or a great opportunity suddenly comes up, you need to be able to get to your money in a matter of days, not get stuck trying to sell a plot of land for months or even years. And all of this brings us to the third and final pillar, really understanding and avoiding that real estate trap we talked about. This is exactly where that casual tea break gossip can lead you into some really serious trouble.
Look at this. It illustrates the problem perfectly. You take 10 lakhs of your hard-earned, tax-paid money and buy a plot. But the official registration is only for 2 lakhs. What just happened? 8 lakhs of your clean money has been instantly converted into undeclared cash. And just like that, you're caught in the black money trap, which becomes a nightmare when you eventually try to sell.
And what about those amazing returns, that promise of doubling your money? Well, let's do the math. Even if your money doubles in 10 years, that's only a 7.2% annual return. You can often get similar or even better returns from liquid investments like mutual funds, but without all the legal risk, the stress, and the trap of dealing with a huge pile of undeclared cash.
So let's see how this actually plays out in the real world. Let's take a story of 2 colleagues. We'll call them Ramesh and Suresh, who find themselves in the exact same situation.
So Ramesh, he listens to the office gossip and buys that plot of land. Years later, his daughter gets into a great college, but he's stuck. He can't get official white money for his land, and he's forced to take out a painful, high-interest personal loan. Now, Suresh, he ignores all that gossip. He built his foundation with insurance and invests in liquid mutual funds. When the college fees are due, he simply redeems some of his funds, pays his capital gains tax transparently, and moves on. No stress, no loans, nothing.
Okay, so we've covered the problem, the big idea, and the framework. Now let's turn all of this theory into action. Here is your personal financial health checklist.
Think of this as your homework for the week. First, and this is immediate, check your insurance coverage. If you don't have enough or you don't have it at all, apply today. Second, calculate your liquidity. How much of your wealth could you actually have in your bank account by next Tuesday if you needed it? Third, and this is a big one, make a pact with yourself to stop listening to financial gossip. And finally, review everything with your spouse. They need to know where the keys to your financial life are kept.
Let's end with this one powerful thought. Imagine you spend your whole life building this beautiful financial house for your family, but it's all locked up. If something were to happen to you tomorrow, does your family even know where to find that tiny, crucial key? Because if the answer is no, then your work isn't done yet. Making sure they can find that key, that is the most important part of building your financial house.